Hey guys, Deepak here from digitaldeepak.com. And today we have Sharath from Shoutout. So, hey Sharath, welcome to this podcast.
Thanks for having me, Deepak. Super excited to talk to you as well as the community here.
Great. So, it all started with me having a look at one of your tweets. I don't know how I came across it. I didn't even follow you, but it showed up on my timeline. And you were talking about communities.
Right.
And I think I responded, and then you responded back. And then we kind of found that there is a similarity in our thought process on how we should be
Right.
approaching entrepreneurship with building community first. So
Mhm.
that's where it started. But glad to be having a conversation with you right now. So tell us a little bit more about you. Where are you from? Where are you right now? What have you been
Yeah.
doing, and what are you doing right now?
Yeah, sure. I'll be brief about it. I am from India. I am from Hyderabad. As many of it's in Andhra Pradesh. I moved to the US like 8 years ago, having like an American dream of starting my own startup. And I did my master's here and worked at a bunch of consulting jobs. But the last 3 years were phenomenal and transformational, honestly. Uh, Even though I have the innate passion towards like building products, and I never took action till last 3 years. And when I found no code, and I'm basically a non-technical product guy, so and I basically don't know how to code. But I do have these ideas, and I wanted to do something and just create out of passion, right? So when I found no code tools like in around like 2018, that's when I felt like I have the superpower of like bringing ideas to reality. So that's what I did, and I've been shipping like shit ton of projects, more than 12 projects honestly, and worked with people like Naval, Gagan Biani from Maven.com, so on and so forth, like angel investors who I look up to. Uh, and my last project was Shoutout, which is actually going on and on and on, uh, because I think most of my projects are my own problems, and I just solve it for myself and I put it outside. And what I realized, this session is I want to talk about more community more than product building. uh, 2018, 2019, I'm like fully uh, dwelling into building products, and that's when I realized, like, since I'm building more but there is no audience to actually uh, respond or like consume, that's when I realized, what, I'm actually doing something wrong. Even though I have the ability to build, there is no community on the other side to receive. So that's when I intentionally started using Twitter to build the community, to actually involve myself in a lot of communities. So, and I actually flipped the switch and literally like giving more value to community first, and then thinking about building products. So I launched a newsletter and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's like my brief story. But yeah, Sharded is what I'm really working on right now, mostly like part-time, but yeah.
Great. So nice to know that. And you mentioned that you had shipped out a lot of products, and then there was no audience for it. I think that is a journey that a lot of us go through, and we all think that if we build a great product, they will come, but they don't come, right? And then we are like, hey, why are
Right.
you not finding this product as awesome? Shouldn't be people talking about it and spreading it just because a product is awesome? Doesn't usually happen like that.
Right.
So that was an interesting, thing that you said, which I have also experienced. I think a lot of other people also experience. But before that, I want to know more about your experience with Naval, because I am like a huge fan of him. I have been
Hmm.
like listening to his podcast, like sometimes twice, thrice. I think it all
Yeah.
started with his tweet storm. How to get rich without getting lucky, and I
Yep.
have been like reading it right when he posted it, and then there was a podcast version of the same thing, which was
Right.
just like simply mind-blowing. So tell us a little bit
Right.
more about that.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a huge fan like you, honestly, and uh, like I said, right, I solve most of my problems first, and one of my problem was back then, since I used to consume a lot of Naval's content. like every day, like be it podcasts, be it like old interviews and whatnot. And I find it really difficult, like, me going on the internet, like searching for his content, like, spending a lot of time literally searching it instead of like consuming it and getting inspired. So that's when I felt like, you know what, he's phenomenal. He's like really an amazing human being, and he made a significant impact on me. So I felt like let's actually bring, all of his content, be it interviews, anything, his podcasts, his articles, like blogs, everything in one place. So that's when I started the Angel Philosopher. And quite frankly, I think I never expected that it is going to be that huge, because it used to, I think it still get at least like 10,000 to 30,000 hits every month. So it served a lot of people like myself and like yourself. So yeah, I just cold emailed him and saying that, hey, Naval, I'm just like working on this, super passionate about building projects, um, and he actually replied. So we went on like back and forth, uh, and he suggested some changes to the website, and I worked with him, like, for almost a week or so, just to make it more perfect for the audience. And then we launched. So it went like bonkers, and it was actually on his bio. Yeah, there you go. It was on his Twitter bio for almost a year. So
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Was there any monetization on this, or it's just
No, it's
at the
just
company?
like a passion project. Yeah.
Amazing. I will definitely make use of it. So, also wanted to know a bit more about no code. I have heard about it, and I like to think I'm a product guy. I still don't know if I fit the definition. Excuse me. So, I do have a CTO who is like a full-time developer in my company, who codes and builds the products the way I envision it and the way the community wants it. But what exactly is no code? And if a person who does not know coding wants to build products, where does he even get started?
Yeah, so no code is basically a sort of like a movement where, we are again like a bunch of people like us who are like builders who wants to build something. We just gather together, and there are like startups who uh, build these tools where you don't have to code anything, but you can yet build a product out of it. Basically, bring an idea from 0 to 1, take an idea from 0 to 1. So there are tools like Webflow, Bubble.io, Airtable, like Zapier. These are all tools that will empower you to build stuff, without writing code or without learning code. So fundamentally, no code is more about building MVPs. And there are startups which actually scaled, like millions of dollars in revenue just using no code tools. So it's not new, by the way. It's like, you basically, if you go back like 10, 20 years ago, WordPress is actually no code in a way,
Yes,
right? So so website builders and functional apps, you can build a lot of things, and you can build mobile apps using Glide, and so on and so forth. So that's like the brief uh, definition of no code, if I
got
put
it,
it in
got
that
it.
way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
In
I
fact,
think
I use Zapier all the time. In fact, I think my entire business is running on top of Zapier.
there
Obviously,
you go.
we will
Exactly.
be
So
removing the dependency on it eventually, but
right, right.
mhm.
Uh, I think if you are new to no code, I would highly suggest one website called nocodecheatsheet.com.
Okay,
So if you go there, you basically have tools, resources, and people you want to like, approach, or like blog posts or like videos and whatnot, everything, tutorial videos, whatnot. So that's where I would start. I would really wish I had that when I was starting. And also the other thing I want to plug is join On Deck's No Code Fellowship. It's a phenomenal fellowship. I feel it is going to empower a lot of people. It actually, I was part of the first cohort. I was a founding fellow there, and the community is amazing. So you go there for community, you go there to learn, you go there to execute things, and you basically come out as a no coder slash builder. So it's a 10-week program, 8-week to 10-week program, and I highly suggest. They're actually, you know, looking for applications right now. They're taking applications, so I highly suggest that.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's where I would say, it's a starting point for you guys.
Got it. Got it. Interesting. So tell us a little bit more about Shoutout. How did the idea originate, and what exactly is Shoutout? I had a look at the website, but uh, I know that it has to do something with social proof, but tell us more about
Right.
it.
Yes. So like I said, right, like any idea, I usually ask myself, what if this platform exists? And when I was actually doing my newsletter, I was actually looking for the next idea I want to ship. That's when KP, one of my good friends, he actually gave me a shout out, and I usually get a lot of shout outs on Twitter, from the community, and some of them are really uh, really good and really kind. So I usually bookmark them and never go back. So it's always like it's lost.
Mm.
So that's when I realized, like, what if I just gather all these shout outs under one place? So for creators, founders, builders who get these shout outs, I felt like it's a good place to basically put them into one place. And I just called him and said, this is the idea. And he's like, you just have to pursue it. You just launch the landing page, blah, blah, blah. So I did that the next 2 days. It got like 120, 200 signups in the first 2 days on the waitlist. So that's when I realized, like, this is definitely something I want to pursue. So that's when I realized I have to build the MVP. I used, again, a no-code tool called bubble.io, build the MVP, launched it with a few friends, and they all like asked, hey, can you give us more? So there are some limitations, but what if like we get these automated, the tweets get like, you suggest us what is the social proof we need to use, and so on and so forth. So that's when I found my co-founder on Twitter, and the journey has started. But in short, so Shouted is a platform where it helps creators, startups to leverage the social proof they get on Twitter and convert them into beautiful walls of love. So you instantly can create like these walls uh, where you basically embed them on your website, which will help you getting conversions. So that's actually powered by Shoutout. So that's our own wall.
Yes.
So yeah, and we're identifying more and more use cases when we went to public launch.
Mm.
Uh, so you don't have, basically it's really hard and tedious for people to build these walls, but we make it easy. We make it ridiculously easy,
Mm.
so that you don't have to worry about it. And we wrote an algorithm that suggests you what social proof you need to use. So if you just log in, uh, you will see a bunch of curated mentions which are provided by us. So
Got it.
that's the idea, and we're actually iterating and expanding the product. We're right now sitting at like $1,100 MRR, and we have like 60 plus customers. We're reaching like 1,000 users. So yeah, the journey is like, obviously I'm very vocal about it. I'm doing building in public since day one, even before the idea came into picture. So that's the story about Shoutout.
Fantastic. So, what's the future goal looking like? Are you planning to raise money or just bootstrap it all the way?
We definitely we were thinking to like definitely go fundraise. For now, it's definitely going to be bootstrapping. I do have a 9 to 5 job. My co-founder Curtis, he has a 9 to 5 job. I'm going to join Product Hunt next week. He works at On Deck. So we're just like having fun with this. This is more of like a side project, and we have definitely thoughts to raise funds, but not now. But we're just iterating and finding the product market fit, and we literally what people want. So we're into iteration. This is more of like experimentation for us. Uh, I think one of the things I truly believe is, if you want to build a startup, you have to build shit amount of like side projects. It's not like I build one side project and it'll turn into a startup. And if you want to build a unicorn, you have to build so many startups. You have to fail, you have to learn, you have to like, get up and do again and again and again. And I want to do the same thing. And this is exactly what Naval said when I was like, uh, going through his content. He said, build side projects before you build a startup. And after building 12 side projects, now I actually have revenue. Now I have a business, in works. So it takes time, and you just have to be very patient about it, learn about a lot of things, be it community building, talking to users, gathering feedback, how to iterate, how to prioritize like what people want, and so on and so forth. So it's a rewarding journey by itself, and you just have to be very patient. So I'm just using Shoutout as the same way. Learn the founder mindset. I'm a first-time founder, so I'm learning the growth tactics. How to do things that don't scale. Most of the Shoutouts growth is basically doing things that don't scale. Honestly, we spend $0 on the marketing, and we aggressively build in public, and that's, I think, that's my learning curve, and that's why I'm using Shoutout as a soundboard for that. So
Fantastic, makes sense. And generally, when we talk about startups, founders, we usually try to just bring in the positive aspects of it, how nice it has been. So obviously, as entrepreneurs, we know that we go through dips, pullbacks, challenges. So do you want to talk about some of the challenges that you faced in your startup journey?
yeah, for sure. I've been very vocal about it. I think there obviously is both the good and bad sides of like building startups, and a lot of people think and project, mostly 90%, that it's a rose-bird journey, like, it's super nice and neat and you just get things done. It's not actually. Once you get into building things, you just will see the other side. But yeah, we do have a lot of dips. We actually went a week without having a sale. So nobody actually subscribed. And once, one of the things I particularly want to mention is, if you're not talking about your startup is dead by default, period. So you have to wake up every single day and you have to talk about it. So that's why building public works. And I saw so many highs, like getting Product Hunt Maker Grant Award, you know getting these signups and subscriptions, and people like startups like Village Global or Hype Fury or Noble, they actually use our product. So that's all the nice things. At the same time, nobody gives a shit about your startup if you're not talking about it. So I saw that phase as well. Like, if I'm not talking every day, that's it. There won't be any signups, there won't be any conversions, and that's like the lows, obviously. And growth is really hard, and uh, you just have to learn and not get attached too much to the results. So that's why my goal with Shoutout is to basically learn these growth hacks slash tactics, so that I can implement uh, in the next startup which I want to build. So yeah, I mean, sales are hard, growth is hard, startups in general is super hard. Like, you just have to like show up every day, be consistent, and build momentum. Momentum is the oxygen for any startup, in my opinion. And if you're not building momentum, and that's it, like, people forget. Nobody has the attention span usually. So you just have to like be very consistent about your product,
Totally.
in what people want, and like build and iterate. So yeah.
Yes, yes. A lot of things that you are saying is what I have read in Paul Graham's blog and his essays, like build things that don't scale and things like, it's like before the engine, runs by itself, you have to like manually, keep doing that, kickstarting it. And unless you keep doing it, then it's going to be like,
Yeah,
crashing. Like it's
all
very obvious, right? You stop working, everything stops working.
exactly.
Momentum.
If you're not doing it, nobody is going to get it done. So you have to do it. The
Mm,
buck stops with you. So I
mm,
feel it's your responsibility, right? it's
mm.
it's the founders journey, and that's why you have to do it for yourself. So if you're doing this for money or revenue or basically numbers, it won't work. You'll instantly give up.
Yes.
I saw so many highs and so many lows in the last 6 months, and I still feel so rewarding every single day that I'm doing this for myself. So you just have to come from that perspective. And uh, and there were so many days that I had sleepless nights thinking about, do even people use this product, and what if like nobody actually shows up tomorrow? What if like everybody churns out? We have like 60 plus customers. Tomorrow everybody says, hey, let's actually fuck it, like we don't want to use Shoutout, let's give up. We don't need this product. So you have these doubts which are constantly pestering you, but you just have to be very focused on what you can control, which is building stuff, talking to customers, very important, and figuring out how you grow this by doing things that don't scale or whatever it is, right? Like use SEO or whatever the hell you want to use, doesn't matter. Nobody gives a shit about your details. It's all up to you. They only care about the value you provide with your product. And that's why I'm very intentional in terms of community building, right? So we do like, we have a cult like community on Twitter, thanks to everyone who's been supporting us since day one. So you just have to be very cautious about the journey. So sometimes you just get these highs, and you will take it for granted that, oh, you know what, this is how it will be. It's not. So my philosophy is the highs and the lows are temporary. So you just have to treat it the same way. Both the highs and lows are the same way, and you just have to move on quickly. If you get an award, or so Procter gave us like $5,000 for their Maker Grant recipient award, and if I take that for granted, like, hey, you know what, we're doing something amazing, we're building a rocket ship, it's not going to be like that every single day. So at the same time, we had 0 sales in a week. So we measure week to week growth. And if you think that, you know what, we are building a shitty idea, let's actually give up, it should not be the case as well. So you basically have to find the balance between both things. So that's why it's really rewarding, and you have to do it for yourself. You have to really enjoy the whole thing. And if you're not doing it, I feel like you'll give up.
Exactly. That managing those emotions and the roller coaster of self-doubt and all those things, if one learns to manage that, then he's on the right path. Like he can keep going. And as you said, the ironic thing about building a startup is that the results are completely based on the amount of effort that you put in consistently. Just like in the markets, if you are investing, it's always better to dollar cost average and just invest consistently and stop being emotional with the ups and downs of the market. Similarly, like 1 week you will have 10 sales, and then you are like, oh, this is going to be the next big thing. And if you're excited about money, then you will start doing this emotional estimation. Okay, this is the rate of growth, this is how fast I will grow, and I'll become a millionaire in 1 year or 2 year or whatever the timeline might be. And then the next week you are like, okay man, everything is going to shut down. And I have been through that so many times. And then I like, okay, stop it, just focus on what you can do and focus on customer value. And for me, like, the only yardstick is like, nowadays, like, customer happiness. If the customers are consistently saying positive things about the work that I do, it's the only fuel that I use to keep going. Obviously,
Right.
at least recently the money has been good, but if you keep money as the yardstick, that will not be consistent. You have to enjoy what you're doing, and your customers have to enjoy your products and services, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that has been my experience as well. If you are interested to know what we do.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
So I started selling courses in 2016, and I worked as a digital marketer in a bunch of startups. Before that, I was running a motorcycle blog. I started a motorcycle blog because I was like very passionate about motorcycles. I still am.
Mhm.
And I ran it for 4 years from 2008 to 2012 and took it all the way to a million page views a month. And at that time, we didn't have these traditional publications have an online presence. So I got all the attention. And we
Right,
were basically using Google AdSense to monetize it. And
right.
we had like a bunch of freelance writers, and it was fun. Like I used to get invitations for Auto Expo, bike launch events, and everything. But it was not a very profitable business. I just used all the money that we made in AdSense and invested back into the content and everything. SEO was pretty good at that time. Then I sold the blog for $25,000 in 2012 to a friend of mine because I just
Oh.
felt like this will not go anywhere because I don't have a product to sell. You can't just
Mm-hmm.
rely on display ads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think a lot of publications are now finding it in the hard way. They are trying to monetize their content, trying to do subscriptions, and right now almost every publication has gone to just sponsored listings or advertorials type of revenue model because that is the only thing that works. And
Right.
then I worked at Exotel. If you know Exotel, it's a cloud telephony startup. A bunch
Mm-hmm.
of startups in Bangalore. I moved to Bangalore and I worked at Instamojo, Razorpay, Practo. So all these
Nice.
startups as digital marketer. And then I was like working in all these startups. I realized like the only way you can make the unit economics work, at least when
Mm-hmm.
you are focused on the Indian B2C audience, is information products, courses, and trading programs because that can have like 90% margins. And
Right.
obviously, as Naval would say, anything that is digital can scale permissionless, right? And
Right.
that's content and code. In
Mm-hmm.
terms of code, obviously there are B2B applications, but I couldn't see the scale with code, at least in India. And I was like focused a little bit on India. I still am. And I
Mm-hmm.
started selling training programs. So I sold my first training program by creating it on the side. And again, MVP, right? So I launched it before I made it, made some sales, and then I delivered it. So it was a Google Ads course. Then I did a
Right.
Facebook Ads course. Then I did a SEO course. And I kept putting back into list building. I kept putting the money back into growth, Facebook ads, and I kept building the list, kept building the list, kept pushing the courses. And then I started getting bored of it because most of the people who bought my courses never used it. And online courses, if you know, like 5%
Right.
is the completion rate, right?
Right.
So December 2019 is when I wanted to try out an idea again as an MVP. So I invited people to a webinar like this. And I said
Okay.
that, hey, pay for my training program. There are going to be like 10 lessons, 10 weeks.
Right.
And you pay 10,000. And if you complete all the modules, then you get 15,000 back. So at
Mm.
that time, it was a risk. But I do know that, okay, not everybody will complete it and there will be a margin. At the worst case, I will break even.
Right.
And if at all I had to pay more, it was okay. So, and since then, that was batch one. And since then, we have optimized it, improved it. At that time, I used to do live classes. And
Right.
now we are at batch 13. And since then, we have enrolled 500 students a month almost, sometimes 600. And now it's more like 20,000 rupees with 15,000 cashback, which is guaranteed, plus 5,000 rupees bonus. So technically, if you are sincere, then you get all the money back. And
Right.
we get as much as 80% completion rates of people
Okay.
doing the assignment, submitting it back, and everything. And in fact, all the people who are here in this community here are interns from various batches. So guys, like, put down your batch number. Let's see which batch you are from, and let us know how it's going as well. So yeah, this
Oh,
is what we are working on right now, and obviously the long term idea is to build a platform and let other people also launch courses on our platform. And yeah,
yeah, I think the future definitely holds with creators. I truly believe that, creator economy is the next big thing. People are still figuring out, Gagan Biani, I just worked with him on maven.com. He's building a course, CBC, not a course, but cohort based
yeah,
courses. So uh, yeah, I do like really appreciate like creators who are coming out and converting their specific knowledge into value for others. So that is unlimited. I feel like everybody has some sort of uh, specific knowledge, they come in and they just have to figure out how they communicate, translate that to others. So uh, yeah, we're doing the same thing. We're empowering creators using Shoutout. People like you have, I think, like 135 people who are, I feel, is a community that backs you, right? So how do we grow from 130 to like 30,000, right? And why we are doing Shoutout is social proof is insanely important for creators, startups who are selling digital products like yourself. It enables people making their decisions super fast. So people buy from people at the end of the day. So
Exactly.
someone else, if someone is as relevant as them is buying your course, and this guy is like, I'm on the fence of buying your, Deepak's course. I just go through the social proof and think that, oh, you know what, this is legit, right? And the problem with current social proof system is you get these random tweets, or you just get these random reviews or testimonials. What we're trying to do is we wanted to help you build credibility. So if you get a tweet from me, I'm a credible person. So, and these 136 people who are there in the call are credible people, right? That is super powerful compared to like a
Yes,
random
absolutely.
testimonial or a review. So we wanted to open the doors for building credibility, honestly, and reduce the spammy
Yes,
testimonials
yes.
on websites. So that's why we're banking on social media,
Mm,
right?
mm.
And Twitter for one
Yes.
reason. We wanted to move on to LinkedIn, so on and so forth,
Mm,
where wherever your community is, like if your community is on Twitter, good. If your community is more on LinkedIn, you can have to utilize that social proof to your advantage. So,
mm, mm.
uh, so that's like the flywheel we're aiming for.
So I think Maven is using Shoutout. I'm just
Yep.
having a look at maven.com. And one thing that I have realized is that when it comes to learning, cohort-based learning always works better than just online courses, right? Online courses are just like books. You buy books, you don't read. You buy courses,
Right.
you don't read. And um, so yeah, glad to see shout out on Maven. I think that's a pretty big win for you that way because
Yeah,
it's
we have
powered
like
by shout out.
yeah, we have really big players.
Mm,
Maven is
mm,
one. We have Levels Health.
mm,
They
mm,
actually do IC, I guess. We have like so many uh, amazing startups using Shoutout. So not just startups, creators like Lenny Rachitsky, who is a product manager. There you go. He uses Shoutout, and Julian Shapiro, he uses Shoutout. Uh, there, yeah. So if you go to julian.com/about, he uses Shoutout. So
okay. Mm. Cool. So I will also give a shout out for shout out and probably get you new users, probably free users, at least in the beginning. And how many users you have as of now? Total users, like more than 1,000, you said, right?
we
Uh,
have like 900 users
okay,
so
let's
far, 900 plus.
done. So I will
Yeah.
probably help you cross that four-figure mark probably in the next few days, and
Awesome.
um, and I think this what you said is so true because it becomes like the social proof is very clear because people can go and check the Twitter profile, and the Twitter profile is like a it has a bunch of followers. You cannot like just create a Twitter profile overnight. And when
Right.
you see the testimonials from there, and I think if you click on that, it goes to the Twitter profile directly, right?
Yes.
So, and especially if it is from like a verified Twitter profile, then even better, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's what if you go to shoutout.so, we have
hmm,
people like Julian Shapiro gave us a shout out, and he has a check mark. So that actually builds us credibility that, oh, you know what, these guys are real and they're doing real shit. So uh, that's actually very important, and a lot of people are missing it, right? So we want to educate people on why you should use social proof to your advantage, at the same time provide tools so
hmm,
they can
hmm.
actually use it. So
Amazing. Cool. So I think that was an interesting conversation, and thanks for doing this. Thanks for your time, Sharath. And we will
Yeah.
definitely catch up again. So, guys, let us know how did you find the conversation? Let us know in the chat box.
And I'm happy to answer any questions
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
have.
Totally forgot about that. So, guys, if you have any questions, put it in the chat box, and if there is something relevant, I will pick it up and ask Sharath. We have time, right? Another.
Yeah, I do have time. I think we didn't talk about community building. We just went
Yeah,
on a
just went on the
rant.
talked about the journey.
Yeah, I feel
Yes.
that's the most important topic for the day. So feel free to ask any questions if you have any
Yes.
about.
So, guys, any questions about community building, put it down in the chat box. How can we do community building in the B2B scenario? Yes. How do you approach community building? Because I have been finding it easy to build a community when it comes to B2C. But how do you manage the community? Is it just Twitter, or is there any other thing that you do? Do you do like a clubhouse, or do you have like a mailing
Yeah,
list?
right. I think B2B is a little tricky. I feel uh, there are definitely companies doing a lot of noise on Twitter, but I, at least in my experience, got to know from a lot of people is that LinkedIn is actually really good for B2B community building and create a lot of content, right? So B2B users, they love how these they love actually how your tool is going to help their business. So talk a lot about how the other business are going to take advantage of your tool, whatever the product is, service or product, anything, right? So focus on like creating relevant content and convert them into either blog posts, threads, or just like do a audio snippets, like use racket dot I think io or so, I don't know which exactly the domain is, but use these audio first tools like Clubhouse, for example. Do a lot of Clubhouse shows, invite other B2B like CEOs or like marketing CMOs, whoever that is you want to talk about, and make relevant content and produce it in a way that helps businesses to understand why they should use you and what is there for them. So always the fundamental rule about community building is make it more about them and less about you. In a way, you just in that the translation is create ridiculous amount of value and always give, and at the 10th step or like nth step you have to ask for something to return. So I would suggest that.
Mm-hmm. Samida is asking, can we make such projects using no code? I think that would be a yes.
Hell yes.
Cool. So let's see if there is another question. So yeah, Sandeep is asking, how do you deweed your community? If there are people who are like not giving out good vibes, there is any negativity. Obviously, when we are putting ourselves out there, there are certain people who are going to be critics, who are going to be useful critics, but there are going to be definitely certain people who are always just trying to
Yeah,
pull us down.
my answer is ignore them. You're not here to convince everyone, right? You're here to serve few set of people who actually align with you. So find that audience, find that niche, and it's really not that easy. You just go there and people will get attracted to your content. It's a long game to play. So ignore the noise, like people who just shit post on you. Just don't talk about them, and your energy should be focused on people who align with you.
Agreed. I think that would be my answer as well, because even in the past few months, I have had experiences who say negative things about me, and I have gone out of my way to try to give a logical response to them, and it only get worse from there. If
Yeah.
you pay attention to them, then they post something even more negative. They start arguing with you. The best thing is to just ignore them. Deepthi is asking, is it better to do community building as a person or as an organization on LinkedIn?
Uh, I don't know about LinkedIn, but I'm not very active there, honestly. But I feel, be it any platform, you just have to show your human side. So doesn't matter which account it is. Don't get into details like which account, or how people react to accounts. It doesn't matter, as long as you show your authenticity / your human side of it. So if don't talk like robots, talk like humans. Marketing, uh, when you do it in a human way, is more relevant compared to doing it in an automated way. So doesn't matter, honestly. Whatever it is, you just have to focus on uh, being more human and authentic. The voice should be very authentic when you translate the content.
Absolutely. People want to follow people, not organizations or logos.
Yeah.
Only people can inspire other people. Because end of the day, an organization is just a collection of people. And
Right.
so cool. So that's pretty much it, guys. Any other questions? There are a few questions which might be redundant, so I've not taken it up. Cool. So anything else, Sharath, in your mind or for the
Yeah.
audience here?
No plugs as of now, but yeah, definitely feel free to use or try Shoutout. It's go to Shoutout.so. And if you find any questions, or if you need anything, I'm very active on Twitter, so you can find me on Twitter. And my DMs are open, so if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer as well.
Cool. So I'll just share your Twitter profile with the audience. And in fact, I will also just tweet it out. So I just put out a tweet for the community here today and would like to get comments from the community as well. So guys, just click on that Twitter link and I have tagged Sharath as well. So go ahead and put the comment here and you can follow Sharath and I have tagged him here. So that's it. So thanks a lot for your time, Sharath, and hopefully we will catch up again sometime in the
Yeah.
future. And all the best for your startup. And I will do what I can to spread the word, and also I will start using it myself.
Awesome. Thank you. Looking forward for that. Thanks,
Yes.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.